This. This is a remarkable place. A place steeped in history, where trails have been blazed, discoveries have been made, and lives have been changed forever. This is a place that holds questions and answers, problems and solutions. It's a place to tap into your creativity, curiosity, and ambition. This is a place to pursue what makes you, you. Here you'll be challenged and cheered, and you'll join a tradition of changemakers. This is a place you'll miss when you leave. Look around and picture yourself here, at this unique time, in this remarkable place. You'll be amazed at what you find. Welcome to UNC Greensboro. Find your way here.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn more about student life at UNC Greensboro, or the G as we like to call it. My name is Nicole Merritt and I'm an admissions counselor here, as well as a two-time UNCG alum. So very excited to have you all joining us today, and to have a little bit more of a breadth of knowledge. I have some colleagues as well as some current students here to kind of help us learn more about student life at UNC Greensboro. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to them to let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
All right. Good afternoon, folks, or good evening. My name is Curtis Tarver. I am in the Office of Campus Activities and Programs, where I serve as Associate Director for Fraternity and Sorority Life.
All right. Hello, everyone. So my name is Jared Strickland. I am a senior here at UNCG, majoring in business administration with a concentration in management, and I'm originally from Pembroke, North Carolina. I'm currently serving as a Spartan Guide captain. I'm also the president of Theta Delta Chi Fraternity, and lastly, the photographer for the New Student Transitions and First Year Experience Office.
Hi everyone, my name is Trinity. I am a marketing major with a minor in media studies here at UNCG. I'm also a junior. I'm incredibly involved on campus. I am a residential advisor. I'm a tour guide captain. And I'm also a team leader for the Bryant School of Business.
Hi everyone, my name is Gracia Navarro. I'm a senior here majoring in public health. And a few things that I'm involved in is also I am a Spartan Guide. I'm part of the Spartan orientation staff and the student ambassador for our Hispanic admissions office.
All right, awesome. So now you know a little bit more about us, and we'll start to get rolling. But I do want to go ahead and remind you all that during the event, if you have any questions, please text the number that you'll see at the bottom of the screen, and then we will be able to answer those questions at the end of our session after we kind of have our presentation, again, just learning a little bit more about student life. Now, before we get too far into things, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So just give me 1 second here to flip to that. All right. So again, welcome. We're super excited to have you all here. I know that student life is something that's super important whenever you're looking at an institution and making that college decision, because you do want to feel like you're at home and like you have something to do with all that time that you're not in class. I know you'll be in class a lot, but believe it or not, you will have some time to have fun as well. So definitely want to make sure you know all of your options available to you. So as I kind of already mentioned, student life can look very different and it can have a lot of different features. So we want to make sure that we're covering everything for you today so you have an idea of what to expect. So we're going to be going over a lot of different topics such as campus activities and programs. You'll be able to hear from some of our current students, as well as learning about kind of the area of Greensboro and the city of Greensboro as well. And then finally, looking into some things that are with student life that maybe you didn't know about or maybe you haven't thought about before as being a part of your student life on campus. So to get us started, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Curtis to tell us more about campus activities and programs and that office and all the amazing things that they do for our students.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being here. And I want to let you know a little bit more about campus activities and programs. So we are one of the offices within the Division of Student Affairs. And what we do, we provide opportunities for students to create meaningful relationships, to explore interests, and to develop a sense of self and an appreciation for their community. Now, as Nicole mentioned, there is a good deal. Certainly, you will be spending time in class, but there's a good deal of time that you're not in class. So we make sure that we're enriching that experience through our campus events and programs, through student groups. And among those student groups include our fraternities and sororities, as well as our student government association. So when we talk about those campus events and programs, we try and make sure that there's something going on at various times throughout the week, throughout the months, and throughout the year. Typically speaking, we put on more than 100 events in any given school year. And those range in a wide variety of things. So it includes Rock and Welcome Week, when you first step foot on campus, Spartan Family Weekend, homecoming, and more. In fact, we have a student organization that is known as ACE, which stands for Activities and Campus Events, that help plan all of the great things that we bring to campus in any given semester. We're also home to all sorts of opportunities to get involved, especially through literally hundreds of student organizations. Among those, we've got 22 social fraternities and sororities. We've got 35 religious-based organizations, 24 club sports teams, so just about anything you might want to play from there. We've got 83 different professional organizations that might be related to your major, your field of study, or your eventual career. We've got 160 different service-oriented clubs. So service is our motto here at UNC Greensboro, and so that is something that a lot of our students take very seriously. And we have 44 different performing arts organizations on campus as well. So some of you also may be familiar with student council, student government. We do have a student government association that serves as advocacy and as the student voice on campus. And so one of the great ways to see what they've got going on, they can be found online, UNCG SGA 98. But they are basically making sure that that student voice is heard throughout all levels of the university, up to and including the Board of Trustees. So, of course, I just mentioned SGA's handles for social media. We can be found there as well. You'll find campus activities and programs at UNCG CAP. Our website, cap.uncg.edu, outlines all of the different offerings that we have. We can also be reached by email, capso@uncg.edu. So great way to look at all of the different offerings that our office has to offer.
All right, awesome. Thank you for sharing, Curtis. So again, that's just kind of a glimpse at what that particular office does on campus, just giving you an idea of some things that are available on campus. So now that we know kind of the things that happen, I do want to shift over to hear from some of our current students. So Jared, I'm going to spin it over to you first. Could you kind of tell us like what you like to do on campus, generally speaking? And it might be something with an office on campus, or maybe just something else that you're involved in.
Yeah, so here at UNCG, I love taking part in our athletics. We are home to 17 NCAA sports teams. So with that, we have athletics that range from baseball to softball to basketball and even volleyball. With that, all of our home games actually take place here on our campus, with the exception of our men's basketball games. They actually take place off campus at the Greensboro Coliseum, totally free. And we also have transportation there and back for our students as well. With that, being here 3 years, going on 4 now, I've noticed that we are a very high-spirited school. So if you are someone that enjoys taking part in that student section at your games back at your high school, know that you're going to get that sort of that same atmosphere here at UNCG.
All right, awesome. And I also want to ask the same question to Gracia, because again, there's a lot of different things to get involved in. So Gracia, could you tell us some things that you like to do on campus?
Yeah, I guess for me, I would definitely say just exploring, especially when it comes to the different organizations and clubs that we have on campus. Being able to like explore and see what to offer is a really easy way to just network and make friends, and also to just relate to one another. So that is one of the things that I like to do most.
Awesome. So in a similar vein, kind of wanting to maybe give a specific example of something that maybe you all look forward to every year. I know whenever I was here, I had particular events that I looked for every single fall. So Jarrett, could you tell us like what your favorite event is on campus that you go to maybe every year or just look forward to?
Yeah, so one event that I always look forward to is actually iFest, which is stands for International Fest, and it's an annual celebration for our school to allow those here to bring up cultural awareness and appreciation. So at this event, there are several booths and vendors and tables set up for different music, food, crafts. So you're able to sort of get that understanding and take part in the different or the vast diversity that we have here on our campus.
Awesome, thanks. And Gracia, I'm going to pass it to you again to see if you have any other fun or, kind of some hot tips for students coming in as well.
I guess one of my favorite events that are actually coming up pretty soon is homecoming. That's one of my favorite because it's a really great time to network, as I previously mentioned. Every Spartan, whether you're a previous Spartan since like we started or a current Spartan, all gather together at one time and place, and we all just hang out. There's a bunch of food, a lot of merch, dancing, and just socializing. And that's one of my favorite things because it really shows our Spartan pride. And it kind of just goes along with the little motto that we say that once a Spartan, always a Spartan.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing all of that. So next, I kind of mentioned earlier that we were going to kind of talk about student life as at UNCG on campus, but also in the area as well, since, going to school, you'll spend most of your time on campus, but you'll also be able to explore the area that is around the institution that you're attending. So with UNCG being right in the middle of Greensboro, we are very close to downtown. It's about a mile. So you can definitely walk downtown if that's how you want to get there, or take a bus. We do have transportation that can take students there and around Greensboro in general. But Trinity, could you kind of tell us about the student experience and kind of like the things that you like to do downtown and in and around the city of Greensboro?
Yeah, of course. I'm not originally from Greensboro, so I find having a school that is incredibly close to their downtown is amazing. It's a great way for you to get to know not only the school, but the community of the city as well. A lot of businesses down there and downtown are actually locally owned and also owned by UNCG alumni. So again, double whammy, great way to get to know the area. My personal favorite area in Greensboro is the Friendly Center. It is incredibly close to campus. They have like a friendly pet center over there. There's a Mimi's Cafe, you grocery shopping. I'm an Apple person. There's an Apple store over there if I need tech help. So that's kind of like my one-stop shop when I want to do everything. But it's just really, really accessible here at UNCG because we actually have several transportation options for you guys. UC also makes it really easy to get engaged, not only on campus, but in Greensboro by sending out 2 weekly newsletters that will always have you just with the know on what's going on in and around campus.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the information. And as you can see on the screen, we're really close to a lot of other different things that students might be interested in, mentioning downtown and all of the fun eateries that are down there. I know I definitely spent a lot of time there when I was a student as well. So definitely something to look forward to at the G. So moving forward, I did want to kind of touch on some things that you might not think about when you're thinking about student life, because you might have thought, okay, well, I'm going to go to a basketball game, I'm going to do this. Those are kind of the things that we think about, but there's a lot going on kind of underneath the surface, if you will, that you can kind of take part of as you see fit. So the first one I wanted to mention is residential halls. So the residential halls are those buildings that you're actually living in, sleeping in, doing your homework in whenever you're at UNCG. And there's a lot of different programs that happen just within these halls. So these residential halls will have RAs, so resident advisors. These are upperclassmen that live in that residence hall, and they're kind of like a peer leader, kind of like a big brother, sister kind of figure, if you will, that lives in this residence hall with you, and they're there to help answer any questions that you have, whether it be about maybe your stay on campus or just UNCG as a whole. So they're there for that, but they also put on different programs and activities in that residence hall. So some of these will be residence hall wide. So everyone in the residence hall will participate. It might be a video game tournament, a pool tournament, something like that. or it could just be more intimate and it's just the people on the floor that you are living on, and maybe you all play a card game that night or have a movie night. So you wouldn't even necessarily have to leave very far from your front door of your room in order to get involved with student life. So definitely look out for all the different programs that your resident advisors will be hosting throughout the school year. Additionally, you may not have known, but UNCG has its own lake. So Piney Lake was definitely one of my absolute favorite places to go whenever I was a student here. I really enjoy kayaking, and they have this like trampoline kind of thing that sits on the water. So tons of fun to go and check that out. So if you didn't know, we have a lake, so you can get all of your outdoor energies or adventures kind of out of the way. There's also a zip line course, hiking, fishing. So anything that you think of outdoorsy related, we've got you covered. And although the lake is not on campus, it's very close. It's about a 10-minute drive, and we do have transportation that will take students to and from Piney Lake whenever you're wanting to go. They will also host different events out there. So it might be a volleyball tournament or something like that. So again, something to look out for whenever you're here at the G. And the last one I wanted to mention is our Kaplan Center for Wellness. So you might have already heard about this. It's pretty popular on our campus, but this is our recreational center or our gym on campus. So obviously this is a great place to go and work out, pump some iron, get some stress out, take a couple laps if you need it. But they have a lot of other fun activities there that center around wellness as a whole. So not just going to work out, but just going to have fun and relax. So for instance, there are nap pods. So maybe you had a long day, or maybe you had a hard leg day and you don't want to walk home. Don't worry, you can take a nap in one of the nap pods, but they also put on other programs such as bubble soccer. It's when you're in like the hamster ball kind of things, playing soccer. Lots of fun to watch, even if you're not playing. One of my favorite things that the Kaplan Center puts on every single year is something called Love Boats. And so on Valentine's Day, they will have in the leisure part of the pool, so the natatorium, they will have these inflatables that you can sit in and float around in, and then they play a Valentine's Day related film. And there's also a Valentine's Day dinner. So again, lots of different things kind of happening in and around campus and in areas that you may not always think about right offhand. So looking into some of these areas is definitely a good way to kind of broaden your student life experience and get to meet a lot of different people who are kind of also poking around in all the different areas that we have for our students on campus. So now that you have heard from some current students and alumni, other staff members here on campus, we did want to open the floor up to any questions that you might have about student life or like living here on campus and what to expect and what to get involved in. So as I mentioned earlier, there is a number, it'll be at the bottom of the screen. That is the number that you can text us at, and then we will answer your questions. So I will go ahead and give it a little bit. And so if anyone had any questions, go ahead and type away, and then we will start answering your questions as they come in. And while we wait, I do want to just see, do our Spartan guides, do you have any like fun activities that maybe we didn't mention that you typically look forward to, or maybe just want to share? Could be something small or something big, but anything that you all think you might want to share with these students?
Yeah, I'll talk about one. We actually just had it last week, Fall Kickoff. So Fall Kickoff is an event that we put on typically the first day of school or the first day of classes, where you are able to go out to College Ave, one of my favorite parts of campus, and go ahead and meet all of the clubs and organizations that we have on our campus. We were not able to have this event last year, and actually having this event in person this year sort of allowed me to be thankful and take that all in. But with that, once again, College Ave is where you are able to go out on the first day of classes, meet all the clubs and organizations, go ahead and stop by the tables that seem interesting to you, and go ahead and get involved here on our campus on the very first day. Here at UNCG, our motto is service. So with that, getting involved, taking part in activities on our campus and even in Greensboro, that sort of allows you to go ahead and sort of take part in that motto.
All right, awesome. Cool, thanks for sharing that. And yes, I was super excited that we were able to have that as well. That's definitely something that our students look forward to every year. And it gives them a good idea of what different things are on campus, especially if they are new to our campus that year. But I am seeing a couple questions come in. So the first one I'm gonna ask, I'm actually gonna pass it to Curtis, I think, since it's dealing with campus activities and programs. But could you tell us a little bit about how students find clubs or organizations to join and how they might go ahead and join them?
Absolutely. And that's actually just a great alley-oop from how Jared just set me up, because fall kickoff is one of those great ways that you can do that. So as he mentioned, that typically does take place on the first day of classes. So what's great about that is right as you are getting your academic career started, you can also get your co-curricular career started by checking out all of the events and activities that there are out there. In addition to that, I did mention earlier our website, cap.uncg.edu, and we've actually got a portal through there known as Spartan Connect, and it's our student organization portal. So you can see all of the different organizations that we have. It allows you to check out what we have, those groups, what they do, when they meet, and all of those things, so that you can make a decision about potentially reaching out for possibly joining.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and switch out of this screen share, by the way, just so that as we're answering questions, we can kind of see everybody a little bit better. So let me go ahead and pop out of this, and then I will go ahead and move on to the next question that I see that we had come in. All righty, so there we all are. All right, so the next question that somebody was asking, because Curtis had mentioned earlier that some of the organizations that we had on campus were like club sports. So Jarrett, could you tell us the difference between what a club sport is and an intramural sport is on our campus?
All right. So yeah, club sports and intramural sports, there is a difference. So with club sports, you would have to try out. So it's a step down from the official UNCG team, but you still have to try out. In regards to intramural sports, if you have yourself and 6, 7, even 8 other students that want to participate in the sport that you want to play, you put a team together and you're able to partake in this intramural sport. So it's sort of like a sign up sort of thing, where in comparison to club sports, you have to sort of try out.
All right, awesome. Thanks for clarifying that for our students. Let's see. So we do have some other questions. I just want to make sure I'm hitting all of them. All right, so Trinity, I'm going to pass this one to you. Could you maybe name a couple of the more unique clubs that you've heard about on our campus or that you've been a part of?
I will name some. Napping Club. Heard of Napping Club? I haven't heard of that anywhere else. Quidditch Club. Also haven't heard of that anywhere else. We have an equestrian team. I also don't know. I think it's also a club though as well. Don't hear about that anywhere else. So those are probably like my top 8. I was like, ooh, yeah.
Awesome. And I'm so glad that you mentioned the Quidditch team. I actually had a roommate that was on our club Quidditch team whenever I was a student here. And oh my goodness, it's very intense. Harry Potter fans, don't worry. We have got you covered, and it is the real deal. Like, the only thing that makes it different, obviously, is that we're not going to teach you exactly how to fly, but other than that, it is all the bells and whistles of Quidditch. So definitely recommend checking that out as well. Let's see. So I'm seeing a question from, let's see, one of our viewers, Doug. He says, is there somewhere that I can go to see all the different clubs listed? So Curtis, I'm going to go ahead and pass that one to you.
Yes, and so again, that is that portal, Spartan Connect. So while I mentioned connecting from our website at cap.uncg.edu, you can also navigate there directly, spartanconnect.uncg.edu. There's also an online app that works directly with it. So once you're a student here, you'll be able to use that seamlessly and check out all of our organizations and the events that they're putting on.
All right, cool, thanks. So then this next question, Gracia, I'm going to pass this one to you. So we've been talking about, all the things that students can be in. So could you kind of talk about how to balance being in all of these different organizations and making sure you're getting to all the fun things that you want to get to?
I guess speaking from personal experience, the balance kind of depends on you yourself. Learning to manage, the classes that you need in order to graduate on time is obviously a priority here at UNCG. We want you to succeed academically first, but also, maintain a social life. And honestly, I would just say do what feels comfortable to you. I know a lot of us are really involved on campus, and that works perfectly with our class schedules and our work schedules as well. But you don't have to be super, super involved on campus. You don't have to hold multiple on-campus jobs. Just doing what feels comfortable and right for you is what you should always keep in mind and what you should always prioritize.
Awesome, thank you. All righty, so I'm seeing another question from a viewer, Deja. Can I only join clubs at the beginning of the school year? I know we had mentioned fall kickoff, so that's a very good question about can you only join at the beginning of the school year. I might pass this off to Curtis, just because you do work in CAP. I know that there are some organizations that have certain timeframes and some that maybe don't.
Yeah, so generally speaking, no, you don't need to join right in the beginning of the school year. So the great thing is for probably 99% of our organizations, you've got the ability to join at just about any time. So some folks will hit fall kickoff, they'll find an organization, they'll join immediately. Some other folks might want to get a few weeks under their belt, learn what their class schedule feels like, things like that, and then potentially add an organization to their plate a little bit later. Some organizations do have kind of specific what their timeline looks like. Typically that timeline resets just about every semester. So perhaps if there's something you're interested in that, has a specific prescripted timeline, you may catch them in the upcoming spring semester or elsewhere throughout your academic career. So you don't even need to join right in the beginning of your first year, or you can join at any point.
All right, cool. All right, so we kind of mentioned athletics earlier, so this question ties in pretty well to mentioning that. So somebody, said, what do you do without football? Because they know that we don't have that. And I know that can be kind of a shock for some students, but I'll go ahead and answer that one. So just because there's not that doesn't mean it's not somewhere on our campus. We do have a club football team. So if you really do want to go and catch a football game, we will have those on our campus all the time with the club football team, and they're traveling around as well. But you still are able to get that, kind of experience that you think about when you think about such a game at all of our other games on campus. So I know tomorrow, in fact, there is a soccer game and they are doing a tailgate right before it. So just as you would with other athletic events, there will be food and games and music and lots of other things going on. So even though, you might not have that exact experience, you're still going to get that athletic kind of experience and that Spartan spirit from every event that you go to. And you'll still be able to get into all these games for free and the tailgates and all of that, like Jarrett had mentioned earlier. And I highly recommend going. Of course, you're going to have fun and you're going to be able to see, a Division I game. So it's going to be a great game to watch, but you have the opportunity to win a lot of free merchandise as well. Sometimes they give away free tuition for a semester. So definitely go to a game, have some fun cheering on your Spartans and see what you can win as well. Fantastic way to get involved on campus for sure. Now, I'm seeing we got another question coming in about clubs. So we have a lot of clubs on our campus, obviously already, but this one is asking, how hard is it to start your own club on our campus, and how exactly does that process plan out? But Curtis, could you maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so the process isn't very hard at all. We've got a pretty low threshold of entry. What you need is at least 5 students to serve as your founding members. You need a constitution, and we've got a process where we kind of walk you through that. So you're not creating a system of government out of the blue. You can use our blueprints so that you can talk about just sort of the rules of your organization. And then you also just need a faculty or staff member who is willing to serve as their advisor. So most students will reach out to a professor or a staff member who they have come to know or something like that. So we keep the threshold of entry pretty nice and low so that student groups do have the opportunity to help co-create their experience here.
Great, awesome, thank you. So we have another question that just came in. Trinity, I'm going to pass this one to you to kind of talk about. So the student says, I'm going to be a commuter student. Are most clubs geared towards residential students? And so kind of in the same vein, what about commuter students? How do they know about things? How do they get involved?
Yeah, I think clubs in general are just targeted to students in general. More clubs that or activities that are targeted for residential students will be hosted by HRL. Totally fine. You don't have to live on campus to be involved. as everyone's kind of been mentioning, if you log on to Smart and Connect, you have the opportunity to be involved in any of those opportunities. It doesn't matter if you're a commuter or not. So yeah, sky's the limit.
Awesome. And I do want to piggyback off of that as well. Trinity and I had kind of talked about downtown Greensboro earlier. Even for our commuter students, some of our events are happening in and around the city of Greensboro. So in downtown Greensboro, for example, one of my favorite events that we do kind of partnering with downtown is in LeBauer Park, which is just this nice green park area downtown. And we have something called Spartan Cinema. So we will showcase whatever movie it is at that time. I know over the summer we showed a Star Wars film. So lots of different things going on, not even on campus, that are still kind of, rallying our Spartans to get involved in the city of Greensboro as well. So even if you're a commuter, you don't need to feel like something is, being missed, because our students are also going out into the city of Greensboro to still get that student life experience in other ways as well. All right, so this next one, Jarrett, I'm going to pass it to you. So it's asking about campus on the weekends. What does it look like? Do people go home? Are there events on the weekend? What does a typical weekend look like at UNCG?
Yeah, so UNCG is not a suitcase university, so our students do not go home on the weekends. As Mr. Curtis said, we have hundreds of events. I feel like we have hundreds of events per semester because there is something going on all the time. And a good thing about campus activities and programming, they actually send us an email once a week with all the events that are going to happen that week. And those events are ranging from Monday until Sunday. And they'll send us another email that following Monday. So on the weekends, we still have events. We still have things that you are able to partake in all across campus. And not only just in campus, or not only just on campus, but also downtown Greensboro and in Greensboro in general.
Great. All right, so we have another question about clubs. I'll go ahead and answer this one. It's asking, is there a limit to how many clubs you can join? So no, you can be a part of whatever you want to be a part of, and however many that is, great. I would just go ahead and remember what Gracia had told us earlier about making sure everything feels right for you, and you're putting your student your student life kind of secondary to that academics, because obviously that's going to come first, but we do want you to get involved and to do all of the things that you want to do. And remembering to talk to your professors and your peers about balancing things, so that way you do get to experience everything that you want to experience while you're here, but you can definitely be a part of anything and everything that you would like to be. All right, so next one, I'll pass this to Gracia to answer. Can I bring a friend to Kaplan Center if they are not a student?
So as of now, since we are kind of going back to normal, we are allowed to bring guests. I believe there is a small fee of about $8 every time there is an entry that is not from a student here at UNCG, so guests are welcome. And I do also know that if your guest wants to come daily, you can purchase like an annual pass, which is also like a higher fee, but that is something that you can do.
Awesome. And kind of in a similar vein, you'll see that a lot of our events where they are catered, directly to our students, that doesn't mean that you can't have a guest. So you'll just want to make sure that you read, the fine print, if you will, on different events, because like homecoming, for example, a lot of different people come to that. So alumni and some of their family as well. So these events that you're, hearing about today are definitely for our students first and foremost, but there are events that you can have guests at as well. So you always want to double check. That way you can bring a friend if you would like to, or if you want them to come and check out UNCG and all the great things that you get to experience. That's definitely something that you can do. All right, let me see if we have any other questions on here. All right, so I know we had kind of talked about this earlier, but I'll go ahead and answer it as well. So just asking what some of our favorite on-campus programs are. And I know we've heard about athletics and iFest and things like that, but I remember when I was a student here, my absolute favorite thing was whenever we had magicians or hypnotists or comedians come on campus. So Trinity had mentioned earlier that there is a newsletter that goes out every week for students to see what is going on campus. And I always read that email. And if there was a comedian or hypnotist, something like that, I was there. So even those little events that, you might not think about, those are really the things that are going to stand out in your experience, especially the hypnotist, watching your friends do things that they don't know that they're doing and then telling them about it later. Very, very fun, and I will never forget it. But all right, let me see if we have any other questions. All right. So we just have one more question. It looks like, I know we had mentioned this earlier, but it looks like we're wanting some clarification on Rockin' Welcome Week. So Curtis, could you kind of tell us a little bit more about that event, just so we can kind of remember what that is?
Absolutely. So Rockin' Welcome Week is, it's kind of an extension of orientation and an introduction to the various events and activities that you'll get to experience throughout the year. So it typically starts kind of right as move-in is beginning. So, about a half week or so, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before classes begin. And we have events and activities pretty much every day going on. So Fall Kickoff is a part of that, but we also do bring in things like comedy shows and hypnotists and concerts and things of that nature. So it's really just the opportunity to start getting engaged in all of the fun things that college has to offer.
All right, cool. So let's see. So to kind of help us wrap up, because I'm not seeing any more questions coming in just yet, but we'll give it a little bit. So as we wait to see if there's any lingering questions, I was wondering for our panelists, our Spartan guides, and then Curtis, if you could maybe go ahead and recap what your favorite activity is that you've been a part of, or what you might recommend for students to do to get involved with or to be on the lookout for, if anyone just has any last minute thoughts on that.
As a residential advisor, I'm going to push going to those events for sure. We put in a lot of effort into creating and hosting programs for those that stay on campus. As we mentioned earlier, you can be off campus and join programs as well. But I think a great way to kind of get to know the people that you are living with and who you're going to be, around all the time is going to those events hosted by Housing and Residence Life. So those are personally my favorite, and how to do, of course, a plug for them.
Kind of adding on, I think one of the biggest things is just exploring. I think I mentioned that earlier. College is all about getting out of your comfort zone, getting outside of that little box that sometimes we place ourselves in. So please go to all the events that we have. Go to Rockin' Welcome Week, go to Fall Kickoff, explore different organizations and clubs, because that is how you're going to find your friends, find your group, and find what you really like to do. So yeah, just explore and get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and I know we've all talked about sort of the fun things here on campus, but I also like to point out that the career fair is also another great event that you should partake in. I know, you come here for academics, you come here to get an education, and we understand that. So with that career fair, I have been to the career fair every year since I've been. And it's where we bring top companies and organizations to our campus. They're each going to have their own table, more information about their company and organization. You get dressed up really nice, you take some resumes, and it's a nice networking event. So actually, no, my freshman year I went, had no intentions of sort of finding a job or an internship. I just wanted to network. And I left that career fair as a freshman with an internship already lined up. So as we've already talked about all the fun stuff and the sort of social activities you can partake in, there are professional activities and workshops and events that you are able to partake in as well.
And the one thing that I just want to be sure to highlight as well is our fraternities and sororities. So I mentioned all of our student organizations, but a subset of those is our fraternities and sororities. And what makes them just a little bit different is that in addition to joining the local group here on campus, you're also becoming part of a national or international brotherhood or sisterhood. So in addition to the experiences that you'll have here at UNCG, you'll have brothers or sisters, the nation and the world over, and it's an experience that stays with you for a lifetime.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for sharing with us your stories, your experiences. I know it really helps our students looking at UNCG, thinking about where they're going to go next. So really, really thankful that you all could join us. And I hope that you all watching learned something new or interesting. And please know if you have any questions about anything, you can always reach out to the admissions office and we'll be more than happy to help you out. But I'm going to go ahead and close things off and let everyone enjoy the rest of their evening. But again, thank you so much. And I hope you learned a little bit more about student life at the G. So bye.